Hey there. So recently I shared that I was diagnosed with tuberculosis and I'm taking therapy for it. So I was wondering if anybody else knows what tuberculosis is because when I first had TB, I did not have any information about it. But in last 2 years, I have learned more by staying in the hospital and through my doctor, and I've studied on WHO and CDS. I've read a little bit on them. So I thought maybe I could just share a little bit about what TB is based on my understanding. So first of all, tuberculosis, or TB in short, is caused by a bacteria called as Mycobacterium tuberculosis. And TB is an infectious disease, meaning it spreads from one person to another. And it is also an airborne disease, meaning the bacteria is in the air and someone has to inhale it first in their body in order to get infected by it. So it spreads by a person coughing or talking or singing. These are few of the ways by which it spreads, and the person has to inhale the bacteria, and it can affect different parts of your body, like your lungs, your brain, your spine, your knees, your stomach. But in most population, it is in their lungs. So we call it as pulmonary tuberculosis. Now, the basic symptoms of tuberculosis when a person gets sick are fever, weight loss, cough. You could bring up sputum and you could have blood in your cough, but not everybody has that. And then night chills while you're trying to sleep. Now, according to WHO in 2019, what they stated was that 1/4 of the world's population is already affected by TB, meaning they already have the bacteria because it is in the air, but not everybody gets sick with it. You can have the bacteria in your body your whole life and you wouldn't even know about it, and you could even die with it. In that case, we say it is latent TB, meaning that you have the bacteria, but it is sleeping. It is not doing anything, so it is in a latent state. But sometimes when you are in, your body is malnourished, or you are sick with other autoimmune diseases like HIV, or you are too much in areas where people are either doing tobacco use or substance abuse like drugs, alcohol. So it spreads easily when people are surrounded in closed environments, because in closed environments there is not much air, and the bacteria can spread easily in that case. So, and also so whenever your body is not very good nourished in a good way, and your immunity is not acting good, then you can get sick with it. And then in that case, we call it as active TB, meaning the bacteria, it has woken up from its sleep state and it is doing stuff in your body and making you sick. So TB is definitely treatable and curable. There are drugs, and even like today, there are even better drugs than there were years ago. And in America especially, it is considered as a thing of the past. Like, it used to be there years ago, but not anymore, which is not true. It is there, though it is not very common in America, like in other developing countries, but it is still there in America. And it is more common in Asian countries because of the high population. Like in India, it is very common for people to have TB and they may not really know about it. But anyways, so it is curable, and there are different strains of TB in a way that bacteria sometimes can get very stubborn and it can get resistant, meaning the drugs which are there to treat bacteria, the bacteria doesn't want to accept those drugs. It will be resistant to those drugs. So no matter if you take those drugs, you would not feel better and your TB would not get better because the bacteria is resistant to it. So in that case, we call it as drug-resistant TB. But still, there are different kinds of drugs which are there to treat drug-resistant TB, but it is also treatable. And so the basic way of treating is there are 4 different drugs which are basically used to treat the common strain of TB, in which case the bacteria is not resistant at all and all the 4 drugs work on you. So in that case, depending on your condition and your case, the doctor could advise you for 6 to 9 months of medicines. Now, the problem with TB is that it is a long-term treatment, meaning that it's not just like 1 week of course that you are done with it. You have to finish the whole course till the end, because if not, then it means that the TB is not completely killed and it can come back. And if it can come back, then it could be a worse, like the bacteria. If for the first time it was not resistant, it's possible that the second time it could get resistant. So it is very important for you to finish the whole treatment. Okay, so the four drugs are there for the common strain. But if you are resistant to 2 of those drugs, 2 or more of those drugs, then you are considered as multi-drug resistant TB. And then there are a separate line of drugs for multi-drug resistant TB, but in that category as well, the more number of drugs you are resistant to, you are considered as a higher version of multi-drug resistant TB. So it could be extremely, like if you're resistant to more number of drugs than you are, then you can also be considered as extremely drug resistant TB. And there are separate line of drugs for that. But still, they are treatable, but the problem is that the more number of resistant drugs you have, your treatment gets longer. In drug-resistant TB, the treatment can go from like maybe 12 months to 20 months to 24 months, depending on your case and how much medicines will be good for you, according to the doctor. And since these drugs are very strong, already the bacteria is resistant, and these drugs are strong, so they can have side effects on your body, and they have to be taken care, because a few of them, if they are not taken care properly, then they can get permanent in your body, or they could be there for long term. So that is another case where that is another condition, another thing where the doctor has to look into your side effects. So yeah, it is contagious, it is treatable.